How about then, the projects that you have been in BIM coordinator or then high up in the BIM manager? I'm really excited to hear what kind of experiences that you have or difficulties and how you did overcome them, because I think there's
Yeah,
plenty of them.
probably like three or four major projects I was on, I'd say. My first project, the hospital I worked on, that was like my first one, and I probably by the end of it was almost in a BIM coordinator capacity, in that I was sort of coordinating across all 26 sectors of the building, and I think it was 11 stories, so 26 times 11 models, all put together in Navisworks, and then you've got a MEP model, structural model as well, and we're all coming together like every week and coordinating those problems. And this is like right back when Navisworks wasn't really like that developed. Like I think this is 2012. And I really enjoyed just like the dynamic of bringing everyone together into like the model environment and everyone just sort of observing like the problems, but also, running a clash detection process and having to learn how to prioritize what's a problem, not only from a design perspective, but from a data perspective. So like that was really exciting because we all had to really think about like how we look for problems in the models, like what were our search criteria, like how did we define the data that was going to tell us there was a problem. So like we had to start classifying elements in particular ways so that we could just manage them out of all the clashes, because we had like 20,000 clashes every week to filter through. So it was pretty amazing. Like an 11-story building across 26 sectors, you get a lot of clashes. So,
yeah, for sure.
So pretty intense. So like I really enjoyed that side of the project. I worked on a commercial tower as a BIM coordinator, and that was where I probably got more involved with like actual like person-to-person coordination, and it taught me a lot about how to like negotiate a solution with like between engineers, architects, builders, clients. And I learned a lot about just like communication and like how to fairly solve a problem, because in the past I'd seen a lot of people solve problems in like unfair ways where the architect might just say, I'm raising the ceiling, you guys figure it out. Like, whereas I was the guy that was sort of like the friendly guy that would come and try to negotiate the problem properly with everyone. So if someone said I'm going to raise the ceiling, I'd say, how about we call some people first? Let's see if we can do that first and find a creative solution. So I used to like fly down and have a coordination meeting with the whole team and do that like every 2 weeks. And it was really exciting. Like I think we tried like teleconference for a while, and we just went, you know what, it's going to be better for the project if we just all meet together and have like a big meeting and get the Navisworks model up on the screen. And that was a really rewarding process. And by the time we got to site, like everyone got along really well too. So it was a really like homogenous team that could work really effectively together, and that sort of carried over to the contractors as a result. So I think that was a really good outcome. And I think I worked on a hospital that taught me a lot about just like the importance of like systems and having things set up like in a way where data can be really easily manipulated and observed, because we had like thousands of rooms that we were managing, and each room was like a collection of Revit objects, and they all had to be consistent across all these objects. So if you had like a PowerPoint, like that PowerPoint had to be the same PowerPoint that they all used in a library. So if you got it wrong from the start, like it was a big problem. So it taught us a lot about like standardizing and thinking ahead. So like we got to come together as a team and really think about some of those decisions quite early on, which was really valuable. And I learned a lot about just how to manage complexity in a BIM model as well, because before that, a lot of my projects had been like office fit outs and things that weren't as challenging. And that was probably the first one where I went, wow, like this is actually like pretty hard. So I got really challenged in that job. They're probably like my highlights so far. But most of my projects I've used Revit. So I've used a little bit of Rhino on some projects, and I've used ArchiCAD once. Wasn't for me, but I tried anyway. It's been a fun ride so far. And I guess for the past like roughly a year or so, I guess I've been also quite focused on my YouTube channel. So sort of exploring not necessarily projects, but like mini projects in each topic that I cover. So that's been quite fun. And a lot of those videos have sort of come from my experiences in the real world. So if I've got a workflow that I'm doing, it's sort of based on a problem that I solved in a different way. But like, here's how I could do it with Dynamo, for example. So there's been some interesting lessons that I've sort of shared.
For sure. Your videos have been really cool. Like I like.
It's really important to make those and sort of share them back. Like I find that the industry is very good at sort of siloing solutions, and sort of one of my goals with my channel is just to open up the floodgates of knowledge and give it out there for everyone to use. So yeah, so I've had a lot of fun experiences and more to come too. So
yeah, for sure. And I mean, I think you are doing like great work with the videos. Like
Oh,
They are
thanks.
just
Yeah, it's been a fun
amazing.
time, and I don't know how it's grown so fast. Like I think I spent about 3 months with 50 subscribers or something like that, and then after that, suddenly I put it on LinkedIn, and suddenly it just took off. So yeah, it's been really great. I've met so many cool people as well. Like I mean, I'm talking to yourself. That's pretty cool. But like meeting a lot of the Dynamo developers and some of the podcasters I've met with. I was like I was on one called BIM Thoughts the other week, and I used to listen to that podcast just at work, and I was like, I'm on it now. Like, wow, it's so weird. So it's interesting how much it's connected me to like the wider community in AEC. So it's been a great opportunity, and I'm glad I did it, because I really just started it just because I was sort of like, I wish I could just share more things with more people, and off it went. Yeah.
How for the projects and BIMs, BIM, well, how to say, the BIM in the projects that you have had, how difficult it has been to formalize the common work methods or processes or the naming and all these different how to say company or project standards to work on.
Yeah, really hard. Every project I've been on, it's been a different standard. Because nearly every company I've been on, every project I've been on's been at a different company. I've roughly changed firms every year and a half or so for the past 6 years. So I've seen a lot of different standards and a lot of different conventions, and I've brought a lot of standards with me as well to try and sort of improve on and say, well, listen, I've tried this before and it works well. But yeah, I know like the series conventions for like 6 companies now or something like that. So the GA and the general arrangement plans are a different number in every single company. So
yeah, for sure.
It gets pretty confusing. I really like the ISO standards and also the British National Annex standards with the drawing numbering system. Like I think we need more standards like that can tell people this is how we do it, and now we don't have to think about it. Like it's just like, because who cares how we number our drawings at the end of the day? Like there's so many more exciting things we should be doing. So it's great when we can standardize those things. Like I know there's some good initiatives going on right now in terms of how to manage like Revit shared parameters, but also like IFC mapping standards. So I think like 5-10 years down the track, I hope that a lot of this stuff is just standardized.
Yeah,
and that's one way to do it. That way we can actually be architects and engineers and builders instead of data smiths.
Yeah, and I mean it has been like for me it amazes that because there's so much things that you need to put together, and then if there isn't people, let's say that they have the project has been like inspired by BIM and they want to make a BIM project, but then they don't have that one guy who knows all these things.
Systematic guy,
yeah, it's just fails. Like everyone is doing everything, and then the data what you are trying to view is like
you don't know, right? Like if you don't know about a system, then like you don't know it. Like it's hard. I mean, the hard thing too is no matter what, you can go to a different program and like it's all different. So like if I build a system like one way in Revit, then I go to ArchiCAD, like I'll be doing it in a completely different way.
Yeah.
So that's the hard part too. So it's not only standards on like naming conventions, but also just like how programs work has been really challenging too. Like, if you tried to compare Revit to Rhino, like there's no comparison. They're just completely different programs in how they work. And maybe Grasshopper and Dynamo, they're similar here and there, but it's probably not by design. It's just by consequence. So I think that's going to be a real challenge for the industry eventually, that the way we work is just not going to be standardized. Well, it already isn't, I guess. So even if we can say this is how a drawing's numbered, like you can't take someone out of Revit